Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and welcome to Not Perfect Zen. I thought I would gather all of my perfect tiles to show you, and there they are. There are no perfect tiles, so I'm just joking. I do want to tell you that if you want to contact me, this is my email address, and I love getting email. If you want to send me your tiles that way, those who are not on social media have done that, and I really enjoy seeing what you've done. If you post on social media, please use @BBL_Tangles, and that way I am notified when you post. I am continuing with 102 Tangles of Zentangle. This is video number 23, and I believe when I'm done with this one, because I have 5 patterns to show you today, I'll have 33 patterns left. And I'm enjoying this. I hope that you are too, for those who are following this playlist. Today I'm going to be doing Onomato, Hibred, XYP, which is pronounced zip, Knase, and Orlique, and they're all by Zentangle. And this is part of my series called 102 Tangles of Zentangle, which is the poster I saw that introduced me to Zentangle. And in June, I'll have my 5th anniversary of becoming a CZT. And so my goal is to show you 102 Tangles of Zentangle before the middle of June. And I'm pretty sure I'll get it done. All right, I'm using a Zentangle 3.5-inch tile and a micron PN, a micron 01. I will be using my graphic one. The difference between these, this has a fine tip, this has a plastic nib, and this one is a little bit fatter tip. And my blending stump, also known as a tortillon, and I keep this in here to just kind of keep the tip pushed out because I'm rough on them. And I did clean this up a little bit with just a nail file before I started because it was getting kind of thick. And a graphite pencil, and I keep a kneaded eraser nearby. All right, like I said, we're gonna do 5 patterns today. And I am going to start with the 4 corner dots. And first, gratitude. Always start with gratitude. And I did post some good news recently that the doctors have said I'm cancer-free, and that is just fantastic. And they are going to remove the chemo port, which to me is a very good sign. So I am very grateful for the health care that I've received over the last few months. I am grateful for all of you who have sent me messages of support, and very grateful for Zentangle in my life and all of my friends that I've met. Okay, many gratitudes right now. I am going to put my 4 corner dots kind of close to the edge here because we're going to use almost the whole tile. And a border. And we're going to put 4 ribbon type patterns across here. So I'm just doing it kind of straight. Doesn't have to be perfect. This channel doesn't do perfect. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I want to put my next border. And what I did on my practice tile is I put my finger and just put another dot here. okay? And that way I can kind of get about the same distance. Not perfect, but we can use tools on hand. And our hand is a very good tool, right? Okay. And I apologize if my fingers look dirty at all. I have been helping my son work on our fence, and it has been a mess. Okay. Again, this isn't meant to be perfect, just kind of a guide. Okay, so I just wanted kind of a fat border here, and I am going to also connect the corners. So this is kind of our string. It's just our frame more than anything. And then we're going to put 4 patterns here and 1 in the middle. All right, now I'm switching to my PN, and I'm going to go ahead and just ink those in. Some of these patterns I don't see very often. I see Onomato a lot, but not so much these other ones. And the last one I mentioned, Orlique, is not published. In other words, that means that there are not public step outs available from Zentangle, but that doesn't prevent someone to create step outs if they want to. But we can teach it, we just don't show the copyrighted material, if that makes sense. Okay, so here we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and connect these corners. I will admit I struggle with trying to come up with good ideas for this because I don't want you to get bored, but I do want you to learn these patterns, and they're fun. Okay, the first one I'm going to show you is Onomato. Okay, so Onomato has a double line, so like this, and I'm not even on the screen. Okay, sorry about that. This is how it starts. Okay, and then in between there, these small ones, we're going to put little orbs. Okay, and I'm telling you that because if you're drawing along with me, you don't want to make them too tiny. I just don't do well with making tiny orbs. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. And I know a lot of you like to just watch and then come back later and do your tile, and that's a great idea. I don't put music in my videos, and I don't speed them up. But you do have YouTube controls that would allow you to do that if you want to. Okay, so like I said, we have that double border, and then I'm going to add just little orbs in here. I have received so many comments from around the world, and I have made so many friends around the world because of Zentangle. And I know one lady who just found Zentangle and sent me an email, has been doing it about 6 months, and says she loves to do it every day. There have been few days when I have not done Zentangle. Now, when I was going through chemotherapy, when I felt sick, I did not feel up to doing Zentangle, and I didn't want to associate that feeling of being nauseous and things like that with Zentangle. Anyway, so I just didn't, that's one of the few times that I have not done it every day. But once I got to feeling better, I was so happy to get back into the habit. I get up in the morning, I put on some quiet music, and I tangle. And when I first found Zentangle, I had been trying to do meditation every morning, and my monkey mind just won't shut up. But I have found over the years, and I found Zentangle in 2017, the end of 2017. So I have found over the years that this is so much better for me personally than trying to meditate. Okay, so here's our double row of not perfect orbs. And now we're going to make some big orbs in here. So big ones that are going to fill this. Okay, like that. Not perfect. I like to kind of start in the middle and just kind of take your time. Just an orb, not a perfect circle. Okay, but we're going to fill this area with these big orbs. Okay, and then when you get to this side, we're not going to see the whole thing, but that's okay. It would have come down a little bit more, but it's okay. So I like to turn my tile, go around the other direction. And for this one, we will kind of see that much. Okay. Now the next thing you do in the step outs, you have the orbs, and then they put just a dark orb in here. But you can put that, you could just put an orb, or you could fill it in. I've seen it done a lot of ways. Always remember this is your art, and it's okay to make changes. Make it the way that you want it. So I'm just going to put more little orbs in here. Because when I put those black dots on my practice, I didn't like how it looked. So you could practice this in your sketchbook if you wanted to first, which is what I do. And then if you like it, do it that way. Part of the reason you practice Zentangle is to find what you like. Okay, so there's our first pattern. The next one I'm going to show you is Hibred. Okay, Hibred. And Hibred starts with these V's or triangle shapes, however you want to call it. And I'm going to go ahead and use that corner. So we're just going to go back and forth. And this one's going to go behind. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do are these lines. The way I like to do this, and I'll show you on one, okay? So we're going to do that, and then we're going to come back this way. Okay, and each one of these. Okay, so you could do it individually in each one, but what I like to do is, so that I'm not constantly turning my tile, especially for you, is I do all of these that go like this. And then I'm going to turn and do this next set of these. These are auras. We're just doing that same line that's over there. I'm not going to put anything right there yet. Okay, now I'm going to do this again. You're not really going to see the same kind of pattern over here. Okay, and now this way. Because I like to point my pen toward the line that I'm trying to aura or copy, however you want to say that. And then we're going to put one more down here. Okay. Oop. And now we're going to do the same thing in this side. So I'm going to turn. Okay, so I would have had one coming this way. Okay. Now we're going to go on this other side. And then we're going to come back. Turn again. And then one more little one down here. Okay, so that is hybrid. And it can also have that extra border on it. And I just admit I forgot to put it in there. So you can have it or not. The next one I'm going to do is Knase. And that is Knase. And I believe that was named that way because this kind of ends up looking like a snake. So that one starts with the same way that we started hybrid. Okay, so we're just going to make these triangle shapes. Okay. And then the next thing we do on this top one is we're going to do an aura. We're going to put another of that same shape inside here, but just one. Okay. And I do turn my tile during these videos. I know there are some teachers who don't, but I think my work suffers And the nice thing about Zentangle tiles is that you can turn them and make it more convenient for your hand. And this one, we're not going to see the bottom of it. Okay, so the next thing that you do on this is to fill in this part. That's why I have the graphic one. Of course, you can do it with your pen or any pen that you have. By the way, you don't have to have these Zentangle materials. I always forget to say that in the beginning. Use the supplies that you have on hand. That's what I did when I first started Zentangle. Pen, paper, pencil, that's all you need. Okay, so you fill that in, and then we're going to give it just a little bit of height. Just a little curve right above that. Okay? Now, with my graphic one, it fills in a little bit faster, and that's where I use it. So those are my 3 favorite pens to use. Micron 01 for detail work. A PN because it's plastic nib and doesn't get flattened so easily for those of us who are a little bit heavy-handed. Okay, so going in like that. Okay, and then a little bit of rounding up there at the top. And I think my graphic one is starting to get low on ink. Okay, again, just a little bit of a curve up here on the top. Okay, and a little curve. Okay, so now we're going to fill these in. And you just do that with these little squiggly lines. And I'm going to switch to my Micron 01 now. And I like to start in the middle. And I'm just going to do these little wavy lines that come down. They're not meant to aura each other. It's just a little pattern that comes down. Then I'm going to do this other side. Okay. So very simple. And I always did like how this looked kind of like a snake. So we just continue to add these little lines that look like you've had way too much coffee. All right. Okay, the other thing I don't do is I don't add music. You are welcome to put on any kind of music in the background while you watch and while you tangle. Okay, so that is Knase. And when we add shading, it's going to look really cool. All right, the next one I'm going to show you is called Zip. And that is this one, XYP. And I don't see that one used very often, but it's cool and it's easy to do. I'm just going to put a line, kind of a very light straight line across the middle, just for a basic guide for me. And then we're going to put little X's. So let's start over here. They don't have to be very big. And this pattern doesn't necessarily need to go between lines like this, but we're going to do it this way. Okay, so I'm trying to get my X on the center of that line. And try to space them about the same amount apart. Okay. And then we're going to connect those lines here. Okay, this one, I'll have it go down. And then this one. All right. The next thing that we do is put a little box. Oops. Okay. No mistakes. We put a little box in here. And it creates these little diamond shapes. Okay. You know, one thing I want to say when I go through the Zenthology, which is, and you can see a lot of step outs online, of course, but they in no way try to make these patterns look perfect in the Zenthology. And I just think that's awesome. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is R this area. And again, I like to have my pen pointed at what I'm trying to aura. And I actually touched right there. It's okay. And this is why I like the 01 here. It's just a nice fine line. Okay. I'm going to turn and come back the other way. Just keep coming back. Okay. Now what I want to show you here is this is how the step outs show you. They have this open space and then just kind of a curve in here. But I have seen this done many ways, okay? So we come back this way. But what I'm going to do, and what I've seen and what I like, is I'm just going to put a slight curve here and here, and then I'm going to fill this in. Okay, so this is how it looks in the step outs, but you can do it this way too. And I've also seen where instead of doing anything like that, I saw another person who just put these little orbs on each side. So they had orbs on 4 sides. So again, your art, so make it the way that you like it. So let's just put these little seed shapes in here and fill that in. Okay. You could even leave it open, you know. Like I said, play with this in your sketchbook. If you've never done this before, I would always encourage you to practice it on just plain paper first, and then decide how you like it. Okay, and the other thing we're going to do is we're going to put an orb, or a little black dot on each side where these little tips come up. Mine's not centered. It's not perfect, and that's okay. All right, so that is zip. And what are we going to put in the middle? We are going to put Orlique. Now, Orlique is one that is not published, okay? I think I mentioned that in the beginning. But it's a very simple pattern, and for me, it is very meditative. And I'm going to switch back to my Micron PN. And Orlique, I'm going to go ahead and show you my practice tile. And the other thing I forgot to mention is that on these little 4 diamonds that you end up with, you could just do, you can leave them as they are. I've seen people put just 2. You could put on both sides, different sides. Okay, so that's what I did on this one. So I didn't really like how that turned out, so that's why I switched to this. Okay, in the center is Orlique. It looks crazy, but it's very easy and very meditative if you take your time with it. So it just starts with a wavy line. Okay, now the rest of this is just adding an aura. And I don't want to take forever to do this, but I do want to be kind of mindful of how I'm going. And personally, I'm trying to keep my lines about the same distance apart, but it's definitely not anything that's going to show up when you get all these lines in here. And I like to go slow with it because, like I said, it's very meditative. It's also some excellent practice for adding an aura. I do know there are some people who say they don't like to aura, but as you could see in just the patterns we did here, aura is important. And Maria says, when in doubt, add an aura. So if you've done something on your tile and you don't know what to do next, that's something you can do. Okay, so I'm just continuing to follow this. Take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, relax your hand. Try to hold your pen softly, because if you have too much of a grip, your hand's going to hurt. Okay, so, oops, sorry, I think I bumped my camera. I just love how this looks when you're finished. All right, now I'm going to turn it because, like I said, I like to have my pen pointing toward the line that I want to aura. Just a very simple curve, very simple wavy line. Just keep going. Oops, see, I wasn't paying attention. But it's okay, it's not a mistake. It's just my art. So this is the 20th anniversary of when Zentangle started teaching classes. I took my first class in, I think, the fall of 2018. And then I went to seminar in 2019. So, like I said, June is my 5-year anniversary for becoming a CZT. And I have never regretted it. I love it. Okay, so now we're going to turn and come this way, doing the same thing. So here I go with just another wavy line. And I'm not trying to get it exactly anything. Just wavy line. It was big on one end and little on the other. I just think it looks so cool when you're done with this. Oh, that's a fat one. But when we're done, it's not going to matter. Just keep adding your aura. Okay, I'm going to turn it and come back the other way. Oops. My arm slipped. Yeah, it's okay. When I did my first tile for today's video, I wasn't sure if I liked it. I have this confidence issue. That's why my channel is called Not Perfect Zen. Because I worry a lot. Because I want things to be perfect. And they're not. But what I did was put it aside and stopped worrying about it, and then come back later and look at it, and I thought, well, you know, that's not so bad. It might be okay. Maybe they'll like it. Oops. And I always appreciate your comments. I appreciate the likes and the share, and I love it when I get to see the tile that you've created after watching my video. All right, we're almost done. Not in a hurry, but there's a lot of crazy lines in it. So there's the first one, and there's that one, and you're never going to have two alike. Okay, so what I did on this one, that's totally up to you. You could come back with your PN or your Micron 01, whatever you have. But I thought it would look neat to have a darker line across here. Okay. So I'm just adding some weight. Okay. All right. And you can do the same thing along the border. I just like how it kind of reinforces the dark line that I put here, copies it. And you see I didn't get that centered. I think that pattern probably does better as just a ribbon instead of being between two lines like that. But my goal was to teach you how to do it. All right, so now we're going to do some shading. And I'm going to start in the center. And I'm going to get kind of heavy on my graphite. I am pointing my pencil toward the line that I want to shade. And I don't want to leave something like that, okay? You want to make sure that your pencil touches that line where you're adding the shading. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to come in with my tortillon, my blending tool, and just soften that. Pull it toward the center a little bit. Do little circles. And you could even come back and add more graphite there if you want to. We'll go over it the first time and see what we think. Okay. Up here on Knase, I'm going to put a little graphite on each side where I've done the wavy lines. I'm not putting as much as I did over here on the center. Just a little bit. And again, I'm pointing my pencil toward the line that I want to shade. And then I'm going to come in here and just soften those lines. Pushing your graphite into the paper and making it look soft, like a shadow. Okay. So there's that one. Over here on Hibred, I am going to add some graphite on each side, on the inside of this line. Okay, I'm going to turn and do this side. And then I'm going to take my blending tool, soften that, and pull it toward the center. But I want to keep that center not shaded. And that gives us kind of a rounded look. Okay, so there's that one. For Onomato, I have shown this before, but in case you haven't seen it, I'm going to make a heavy amount of graphite right here on my scrap paper. And then I want to pick up just a little bit of graphite and put it in here so it's nice and soft. Now you can, if you prefer, use your pencil and add a line and then come back and soften it. But I like doing this. Let's have fun with it. And I'm going to do it on the same side on each of these little orbs. And what it does is it makes it look more rounded. All right. We'll put just a little bit for that one. All right, there we go. We did it. 5 patterns. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. All right, come on, camera, cooperate. Oh, want big instead. There we go. Okay, so that's the first one that I did for practice. I don't know if I did these as not exactly the same, but you can see a little bit of difference. Like I said, this one, I put that extra border in there and did a little bit different on zip. All right, there you go. If you have space, I would encourage you to put your chop. I am going to be sneaky, and I'm going to put mine in this orb. Some people hide their chop inside their work, which is kind of cool. All right, I hope you had fun with that. I enjoyed it. And again, I would encourage you to put the pattern names on the back. Here's the hashtag for the series that I'm doing. Sign it, date it, put information on the back that you might want to remember. And have fun with it. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments, share. All of those things support my channel, and I really appreciate it. I enjoy your comments. I reply to all of them. And if you ever have questions about Zentangle, if you're new and you want to know something, please send me an email. I am at notperfectzen@gmail.com. All right. Thank you again. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you next time. Bye.